Moosfraba.
It's Friday night, Aurora. It's 11 o'clock. Wayne's World. It's excellent. Party time. Party on, Jeremy. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Whiskey, Lead, and Steel, Fielding Shirt While You Wait, the official podcast for Progressive Defensive Solutions. Joining me today on the panel is Lee Curling and Jeremy Phillips. I'm Rick Sutton. We are attempting to not succumb to dehydration and heat fucking illness as we were out all day in the sun having a good time working with the W3 crowd today.
Yeah.
They came out for one of their shooting sessions with us. They had the intermediate thing where they came out, and we worked today on multiple target engagement and magazine changes, more importantly, more specifically, emergency reloads and retention reloads, something that admittedly I don't know that they have a lot of need for.
No.
But it's certainly one of those things that is a confidence builder, and it's a skills and knowledge expansive aspect. So to that end, Lee, we'll start with you since you're sitting there looking like a professor. What'd you notice? And
today.
There you go. Yeah, patches on his sleeves and shit. So what did you notice today? What'd you think about what all we covered, and what do you think they got out of it based on what you saw and what they said?
Oh, I think it's the expected group who's out there, right? There is a group that is, most of them have been at this for a few years, a couple years. And of course, I was out in the afternoon for the intermediate group.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's still challenges.
Oh yeah.
Right? There's still challenges, and Mac and I, as we're walking back up, had a discussion about some of it. And there's some of the ladies do well with a subset of the skills.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the challenge is there's a 50 to 60, 70%, depending on the individual, of things where the skill development isn't there.
Yeah.
The knowledge isn't there. But overall, I mean, I think they did well, and they're always a great group. They're always a group that wants to learn, wants to absorb. But I'll say the challenge on some of it is some of them have been doing some of this for as long as they have. Some of those skills are hard to unlearn.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Hard to unlearn, and we did a lot of work with that. But they want to. They recognize you can show them video. That you can show them video, and I see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it's a challenge to unlearn that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real quick point on there.
What did you think, Jeremy?
Well, to Lee's point, everybody likes to preach practice. Oh, get to the range, practice. But, like we're talking about here, practice also reinforces bad habits as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not having somebody there who's critical with you, who can point out what you don't realize you're doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how, I think that's how, well, we've talked about this.
Oh, yeah.
That's how the bad habits creep in.
Absolutely.
And one of the things, and this is one of the reasons that we are proponents of getting professional training. Don't just leave the training up to yourself, because, and we've talked about that. We were talking about this with the ladies today. It's hot. It was muggy. When you get fatigued, when you get tired, you get complacent. But more importantly, you start looking for the shortcuts, the way to make this happen. And if you're already tired and you start reinforcing your activities with the shortcuts, then the shortcuts become the thing that you come away with.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking to them. On average, they say it takes 3,200 repetitions for something to become a conditioned response or a trained reflex. Well, if you develop a bad habit, now you got to do 3,200 repetitions to break that habit, and then another 3,200 repetitions to build the new good habit. Just really because a time-consuming and costly thing. Because if I'm a huge fan of dry drills and cold drills, but at some stage of the game, if you really want to get good at your draw and hit, you have to draw, get a sight picture, press a trigger, and do recoil management.
Sure.
But I agree with you. They came out. They came out and suffered in the heat.
Oh, yeah.
They leaned into the traces, paid attention. They put the work in. And it was funny because I was watching some of them, and we were reaching the point where they were starting to fatigue out. So took a break. Everybody stood in the shade and took a break, and we talked about some other things, and we got back to shooting, and we asked, "Hey, what do you think?" And a couple were like, part of me wishes that we had shot some more, and then the other part of me recognizes that if we'd have just keep shooting, we'd have just wasted time.
Right.
Yeah. So you got to be smart about your training aspects of that.
You know, on that aspect, you know, how often how many times do you take a basic pistol class? You know, do you if you take a basic pistol class, do you have to go to the intermediate next?
No, and so I'm a big fan of this. I do this with riding horses and riding motorcycles and mountain bikes and shooting. It never hurts to go back and take the 100 level class, because chances are that even if you don't learn anything new, there's a better than average chance that you're going to get reminded of something that is a fundamental aspect that in the back of your mind you know, but you haven't really put a lot of attention to it because you're over here doing the busy whiz-bang, high-speed, low-drag shit all this time. But as Mac has pointed out on more than one occasion, from a competitive standpoint or from an operational shooting standpoint, the guy who does the basics the best,
Yes.
consistently, is the guy who usually, when the chips are down, does well. You know, if you're one of these guys who you come out and all you work on is clearing a plate rack at 10 yards and getting the plate rack cleared in 7 to 8 shots in under 6 seconds, that's awesome. But then you go, all right, well, now what I need you to do is I need you to draw and hit a man-sized target at 15 yards away in 3 seconds. You hear the rounds cracking over the berm. Yeah, it never hurts to pay attention to the fundamentals and work on the fundamentals.
And that is something Mac and I talked about, is that's, you know, and I said this to the ladies in the AR, it is, you'll get to a point where you're doing better. You're shooting faster. Right now, you're cranking off a round every 2 seconds. Your body position issues aren't really a problem. It's not really a problem. I can fire from any position I want. But what happens is when you are trying to get to those
6 rounds in 2.5
6 rounds in
seconds.
2.5 seconds,
Real
right?
rounds, yeah.
Your body position becomes much more important, right? If your body's rocking 3 inches, you know, back and forth because your body position's bad, every round's going to be okay. If you
Shoot
wait,
one round every 3
wait
seconds
for your
or
body,
something, yeah.
wait for your body to stop pendulum back and forth.
Yeah.
But even a mediocre body position, you get to the point, okay, well, I'm only moving an inch. And then it's like, I'm moving an inch. And then I'm firing the next round when I've reset half of that distance.
Yeah.
And then I fire a round when I reset half of that distance. And then it's 3 rounds in, you've moved your body's back an inch and a half, and now I'm off balance.
Yep.
Right? And it was a video of someone that's not involved with W3,
Yeah.
you know, where I kind of showed her that you got all this great feedback from people about how fast you fired, but it was like, if you look at how far your body's moving every one of those rounds, if you fired one more round, you'd have been completely off balance.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
that's why it's important, and you've got to learn that in the beginning, because otherwise you're going to go through so much unlearning.
Yeah.
And that's the fight that we're
Yeah.
doing with some of them right now.
But yeah, and I point out that question not because of anything I saw at W3, but you know, something that we haven't talked about is, you know, the ego that gets in the way of, well, why would I take another beginner pistol class?
Oh yeah.
I've done that before. Okay, when did you do it? Well, 1997.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you do it again. And I say this coming from, again, other communities as well. Make you do that as well. Hey, you've been out of the water for 5 years. Guess what? You get to do a basic skill demo here before we take you out, and
That's right.
we ensure that you are up to the standards of being an assistant instructor.
Yep.
Yeah. No ego to get in the way. Hey, got it. We know you can do it. We know you've got thousands of hours logged or whatnot, but show me.
Yeah. We just want to make sure everybody's on the same sheet of music.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
But yeah, again, I've taken a couple of basic pistols. Taken a couple of basic carbine and shotgun courses as well. Nothing. Ego doesn't get in the way. Hey, cool, great. More time on the range.
And I come from the standpoint, and credit where it's due, my grandfather. My grandfather taught me this. He said, take a class. You should be able to learn something from anyone.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He said, and even if what you learn is, that guy's an idiot, don't listen to him. You have at least learned that.
Yeah.
Right.
One of the big takeaways that I came away from stuff is, you should be able to learn something from anybody. And if you can't learn something from someone, maybe you're the problem.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of leave your ego at the gate.
I've taken some classes from some fucking window lickers.
Oh, yeah.
Knew that going in.
Yep. Well, you did that not too terribly recently, didn't you? You're like, oh, we're a defensive carbine class. We're gonna shoot at 400 yards. What?
Good luck articulating that one.
It's a urban defensive carbine class. Urban.
Telling you.
What?
I think there's a market for a strategic rifle class. Bringing it back.
Yeah.
Got to have a 7mm or greater rifle.
I want to teach a class. I want to teach a tactical boys rifle class. You know what the boys rifle is? Lee might know about this. I don't know. So the boys rifle was a World War II development. The Marine Corps had a bunch of them. And if you can imagine, this is essentially what it is. It's like a Remington 700 that was built specifically for you to shoot, as a rifle, aircraft.
Oh, yeah.
So it is a aircraft rifle. And it shoots like a, 20mm round or some shit.
Yeah.
It's a big bolt action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bolt action artillery.
All right. Short squirrel.
Okay.
Talk about that.
Hamster.
Okay.
Peacock.
Short
What are
rebel.
we?
Saw a headline, did not read the whole article, but apparently a Ukrainian soldier shot down a cruise missile with his machine gun.
Bravo to you, Ivan. That's fucking awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah, well, when you brought up the boys, I was like, yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Physics is physics.
Hey, physics is physics.
Ooh, how about
You
this?
just need to lead it, right?
Yeah. So what about the Ukrainian guy in a propeller-driven aircraft
Oh, yeah.
in a training bird
Yeah.
shooting down fucking drones?
Drones, yes.
From the back seat. Fucking World War I style. Fucking
Back.
Snoopy and Red Baron style. Fuck yeah.
That's kind of cool. Yeah. I mean, not to get into the whole politics about Ukraine, other than
Fucking kill commies.
it involves killing communist Russians. So,
Yeah.
so right off the get-go, I'm good for that.
Yeah.
But that's some interesting shit happening over there.
Yeah.
Some fucking battlefield innovation
Yeah,
shit right there.
Because whoever, they must have been listening when somebody, I forget who the smart guy was, said, oh, I don't know what the next World War is going to be fought with, but the one after that's going to be fought with rocks and pointed sticks. Apparently the Ukrainians have taken that shit to heart.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, yeah, we'll be out here with bows and arrows next.
Yeah.
But, again, the Cold Warrior in me says, if you are Rambo-style shooting commies with a compound bow, I'll send you some arrows. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
Yeah.
back to the regularly scheduled program.
Yeah. So Yeah, so great class with them. Great bunch of folks. They came out and they put the effort into it. And I, as a guy running a company that teaches people how to shoot, what I really like about that is there are people out here getting training.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
so many times you see people. Well, I bought this, whatever it is, but I'm not going to get any training with it. I'm just gonna. I bought a $500 gun, and I put $500 of aftermarket mods on it, and I haven't shot it yet. I'm gonna fuck it all up and take it to the gun shop so they can unfuck it.
To that point, buying $500, and we are now transitioning to part 2 of this podcast, which
Yes.
is, what is the first thing you do when you buy a new gun? And the answer, quite obviously, is not throw a whole bunch of shit on it that you probably don't need. And then, in doing so, fuck it up and then have to take it to...
Arsenal Performance and Gunworks, Chesapeake, Virginia. If you fucked your gun up, send it to them guys. They'll get it sorted out for you.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it's a gun that there's a schematic on and that the company that makes the gun supports it.
Like a Tangfolio 10mm.
Or more importantly, like a friggin' Smith & Wesson M&P 22 Magnum.
Oh, I was thinking about the one that there are diagrams for and are reliable.
Oh.
Good.
Yeah.
So
10mm
Smith
Tangfolio.
& Wesson.
So yeah, so Smith & Wesson, so Smith & Wesson took a page out of the Kel-Tec book, I guess,
Mhm.
and they came up with a 22 Magnum pistol with a 30-round magazine. Kudos to you for that. And it's based on the M&P. Well, they're calling it an M&P, right?
Not based on the M&P.
No, which makes no sense because the M&P, they have a 22 caliber M&P. Why would you not just do this? But
Right.
they're like, no. The Mustang GT isn't based on a Mustang. It's built off the Torino. Because, you know. So anyway, so this fella goes out and buys himself a gun, brings it in, and he's like, hey, nice guy, can you polish this gun up and do some stuff with it? Like, yeah, it's an M&P 22, not a problem. We pull it apart and we start working on it. And then we're like, let me check this out. So Brownells has no parts for it or schematics for it. Nurmich doesn't have a schematics for it. Midwest and RSR don't have any parts for it. When you call Smith & Wesson and go, hey, the tiny ass little spring that's held in with fairy dust, because that's a great idea, that is your trigger reset. How do we get one of those? Oh, we don't have those. What? Yeah, I don't have any parts yet. So you put a gun out in the market for people to buy, and you don't have the parts to fix it if it breaks, or if while it's being polished, that tiny little piece jumps off into the atmosphere. Thus causing a 45-minute search in the heat. So that's the other thing. So it's 85 degrees in the shop because we were low on Freon. So the air conditioner was a block of ice. So yeah.
Anyways, so back with what you do as soon as you get a gun, you can either take it and, depending on who's working on it, may or may not fuck it up for a little bit. Or you can buy some no-name brand parts yourself, try to put them in yourself, put them in incorrectly, and then...
Force it together.
Yes.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Caveman
That's the
style.
thing that happened. Yeah.
And then, in doing so now you have spent $700 on gun, $150 on optics, $125 on some bargain basement Chinese-made parts to supposedly make it better, and then you spend $300
At a gun shop.
going back to where you started.
Yeah. All of which money could have been spent on ammo and range time. So the trick answer to what do you do when you buy a brand new gun is buy a bunch of ammo and go to the range and shoot the piss out. Shoot it like it belongs to somebody that you don't know or like.
Yeah.
Just shoot the dog shit out of it.
Best thing to do. Break it in.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
One lady today was like, "It's new.
Oh, yeah.
It's new. I'm loving it." But
She's
But
having
it's
a problem with her Glock 19X. Which I've not monkeyed with one of those. I like the concept of a full size frame, but like a compact top end.
Yeah.
But the frame is weird. It's got a weird shape to the bottom of the magazine well. It's got like this, I don't know, elephant nose or something. It's weird. I was like, what's the fucking point of that? But they didn't ask me.
They didn't ask you.
That's because Glock is based out of Austria, which is Germany's West Virginia.
You get the 17L that's, got like a 4-foot barrel on it.
Yeah.
So I want a 23.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I want a 40 cal.
We did have somebody bring a Glock 26 and wanted to add a flashlight to it today.
Who makes a flashlight small enough that you put it on a 26? Good Lord. So they could do CQC?
Didn't
Clear the house. I need a flashlight on my gun.
didn't want to ask.
But like, well, if you're going to put a flashlight, you need one of those, what do they call it? The gas pedal?
Oh.
You need one of them. And a rail.
It's like
And a
that
lanyard.
whole discussion we had on
That's
this.
the new thing. We need to start propagating lanyards.
And some tactical heel magazine releases.
Yeah, because
Big old friggin-
everybody else does flashlights and lasers. We should do lanyards
Lanyards.
and bayonets.
So we don't lose your gun.
That's right. And then when it runs out, it's now a stabbing instrument.
Yeah.
Well, that you know what that's a justifiable reason to have a Picatinny rail on your handgun is so you can mount a bayonet.
There you go.
I don't know why.
There you go.
Maybe we should put windows on the side of the grip so you can see how many rounds you have left.
Or maybe we should just use Apple because it's better. See what I did there? See what I did there?
Yeah.
I've been hanging around Lee long enough. I'm not conversant and nerd, right? But I know just enough. Like when you go to the Mexican restaurant, and you're like, "Dos cerveza, por favor, queso, por favor." I know that much. That's the level of computer speak that I have.
He doesn't even know if he's actually saying the right thing.
No.
But they kind of bring the stuff that he's sort
There you
of
go.
expecting. So
There you go.
The files are in the computer.
That's right. So I brought the computer
That's right.
because the files are in it. Wow, that's nice. That's off screen there. I think LG, the LG TV company. Do you ever watch LG TV?
No.
So we have the LG TV and LG TV at the shop, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm having to learn all that shit. So I get this is a segue. I understand but commercials because I'm a capitalist. But like every 40 minutes, they just go boom, and they show some pictures and they make some music like what Amy was just playing, and they put a countdown and go, "We'll be back in 57, 56." I'm like, this isn't even a commercial. Why did you stop the show that I was watching? You interrupted the chimps ripping the furvet monkeys apart to show me this for 55 fucking seconds. What was the point of that? I don't understand that.
And you too can watch that while you get your gun worked on at Arsenal Performance and Gun
That's right. We got good coffee there. And with any luck, we're going to get a smoke heater before too off long so you can enjoy a stogie.
We were talking about that today, Sam and I.
Of course you were.
Righty.
Cool.
Anything else?
Anyways,
I think we have. I think we went right down the rabbit warren on that one. Had a good time though. Any rocks, bottles, bombs, hand grenades? Any alibis?
see y'all next week.
Never.
Well, officially, what is your
Maybe.
opinion? What is your opinion on Versus? We all know where I stand on Versus.
They look great in pink. Would be better if they came in 10mm.
Oh, I don't know that. I don't know that Versus would stand up to a 10 millimeter.
Versus
You know,
10
one
millimeter.
shot out of that.
All right.
All right. Well,
All right.
so to that end, I guess now we're gonna have to send Sam on a. We're gonna have to send Sam on a scavenger hunt for a legitimate Bren 10. Because I'm gonna have a 10 millimeter. I'm gonna have the
gonna be a
Don
Bren.
Johnson Bren 10. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you found it entertaining and humorous. If you haven't hit the subscribe and like button yet, I really don't know what you're doing with your life. You need to get up off of that shit and make that happen. All right. Be good, be safe. We'll see you on the flip side. I want to. Let's go all in. I want an American cheese and yellow mustard Vienna sausage sandwich on Wonder Bread. Because I lived in Arizona when I was a kid. Yeah, and a Fanta.
And a Fanta.
Yeah.
Mr. Pibb.
Tastes just like Dr. Pepper. No, it doesn't. You shut your mouth.
Only assholes drink Mr. Pibb.